In this video we'll be looking at 5 profiles of Middle Earth SBG which are rarely used and I think should be. Welcome back folks, Steve here as per usual, and following on from the success of our last top 5 videos, we've decided to carry on with some of these. You guys seem to enjoy them, and anything you enjoy we will keep doing. Please do remember, if it's your first time in the channel looking at this video, click that subscribe button. We have tons of Middle Earth content in our back catalogue as well as other stuff, and also if you click the button you'll be notified when we do release new videos. On the subject of jumping on the top table train, if you like, please do check out our Facebook page. It is an amazing group on Facebook, one of the best out there, and you won't be disappointed. You can catch up just with gaming chat, hobby chats, share your whips, tactics, armies, whatever you want. Do check it out and join us for a lot of banter and a lot of fun. This video is sponsored by the fanzine SBG, so a big thank you to Damian and Tom for doing that. The reason this video is sponsored, I got the idea for doing this video from reading back through their magazines, and they did a couple of articles on the most undercosted heroes. It was a great idea and a great article, and another way to look at the game with interest. And I'll be doing that in the future, and those videos will also be sponsored by SBG Fanzine. Check out below, I'll put all the details. If you haven't seen these already, you need to get your hands on them. They are great. You can contact Damian and Tom and find out how you can get them. So thank you to Damian and Tom for that. So straight into the video. In the game that we all love, there's tons of profiles out there that we read them and think, oh my god, that is an amazing profile, and for one reason or another you rarely see them on the table at tournaments and battle reports and things like that. And the reasons differentiate, but it could be the fact that they have an amazing profile, but in the faction that they're in there are just some better options in that profile for the players to choose. It could be that the models are OOP, or a lot of the time it could be just that they've been overlooked and people have not realised actually how good these models are. Now there are way more than 5, we know this, but I have chose 5 today which jump out at me and always have, and I always wonder why I don't see more of them on the table. If you guys like this video, I will do more. I'll do follow-ons from this. Please do put your recommendations in the comments below and I'll make sure that they get on screen and we can all have a chat about it. Profile number 1. For me, profile number 1 has to be Arwen. Arwen's an amazing profile. She's an elf, she's 60 points, but what she does for your army, she brings something that nothing else can. She only has 1 spell in her armoury, which for me is even better than Nature's Wrath, and Nature's Wrath is something that's highly treasured by a lot of the top players out there who play elf armies. Yes, she has a low defence, but she's fight 6, she's strength 6, she has an elven made sword, she has access to horses and an elven cloak. She's expert rider and woodland creature, which are all great keywords and really do help you out in game. It's like I say, she's a character that's more of a tool for your army that can, used in the right way, can devastate pretty much most armies that you come up against, whether you're coming up against infantry army and you need them on the floor so you can charge in and get advantage of double attacks, whether you're coming up against a cav army and you want everything dismounted within the bubble that she's in, or even monsters. The spell she has is unbelievable. That spell is the Wrath of Brunnen, and if we just have a quick overview of what it is, I'm not going to go into detail. Do check out her profile and check out the spell in the rulebook. But basically she has an area of effect of 6 inches. If she gets this spell off, everything within that bubble is knocked prone and also takes hits. Now the taking hits part is what differentiates it from Nature's Wrath. It is very, very good, especially if you're playing against like weaker things like goblins and orcs and things like that. Anything with a low defence, not only are you knocking them down, you have a good chance of inflicting wounds also. If those enemies are in water, yes, that is very situational, but if they're in water, it is even more devastating as the power of the wounds inflicted increases. She only has 1 might and 1 will in her profile, but for those points you can't complain. But she makes up for that by having 4 will. So you have 4 chances to use this spell. So whether it's just like 1 major hit that you need to do, that you're going to use that 1 hit as the focus point for your tactics in that battle, or whether you're going to do it in different parts on the battlefield and try and get it off a couple of times, 4 will is a great addition to her profile. And don't forget, she does have heroic defense. Even though she does have the low defense value, she's got heroic defense there just in case she does get in a spot of bother. Also with resolve and channeling, which makes the Wrath of Brunnen even more powerful than it already is. I think it's a great spell, and Arwen is a great profile. I'd love to see her a lot more on tabletops. Number 2, Keeper of the Dungeons. In this current climate, Keeper of the Dungeons is quite popular at the moment because we've got a brand new, fantastic model from Forge World, and oh my days, is he beautiful. I even painted him up as soon as I got him, and I have no intention of running a Dol list at any time soon, but it's such a beautiful model I had to get him painted up. And that takes nothing away from the original model, which also was a great model in the range. And a friend of mine, Mr. Damian O'Byrne from Battle Streams and Middle Earth, he actually went as far as to say it was one of his favourite models in the range. So what are you getting for 75 points? He's been referred to as a mini Bolg, and the reason for this is one of his special rules. The special rule, named Torturer, basically means that he has a stackable list of special rules that he gets for every kill that he makes in the game. Once he gets his first kill in game, he gets to reroll 1s to wound, which is fantastic. You know, it's automatic. You get to reroll all your 1s, and we know from using feint and stab in this game that that can be critical in a lot of battles. Kill 3 enemies, and he now causes terror again, which is pretty massive against troops with low courage. They're not going to be able to get near him, and he can pick his fights. If you kill 5, you start to be able to re-roll all failed to wound rolls. This is epic. You basically, it depends how you look at it, but in a way, it's kind of like doubling your attacks. Everything that you fail on the wound rolls, you get to re-roll. Obviously, you can never roll more than what your start rate is, but you just get that second chance because we all know you can have that one turn where you roll very badly and you get a second crack of the whip. So this is an awesome rule, and this is where people call him a mini Bolg. He has a second special rule, which is very circumstantial, and he gets +1 to wound against any of the wielders of the Elven Rings, so Gandalf, Elrond and the like. He'll get to reroll wounds, which is fantastic. Again, I would say very situational, but very cool nonetheless. Fight 5, Strength 5, Defense 6. It's a solid profile. He has 2 attacks and 2 wounds. He has no fate, which I think is his downfall and why sometimes people will kind of brush past him. If using correctly, you should be chomping through troops. I'd very rarely, even though he has the special rule against wizards and the ring bearers, I'd very rarely be putting him in against heroes. For me, he is something that he's going to chew through troops. But then again, he can hold his own against heroes. He's got a good fight value and his strength is immense. To go alongside that strength, he is burly. He can go two-handed with no penalty, which means then he'll get +1 to wound again. He can heroic strike, which, we all love heroic strike in this game. It's fantastic. He can heroic challenge, and he also has heroic strength. So the damage output that this guy can do starts to get a little bit silly. And for me, he's an absolute beast. That is why I think the Keeper of the Dungeons should be used more often. Number 3. We're going to go a little bit old school for number 3. For me, number 3 are Durin and Dwalin, 2 dwarfs. So you get 2 heroes in one profile when you pay for them. You pay 140 points, which sounds like a lot, but let me just go through what you're getting for 140 points. Straight off the bat, you can split that down the middle. So each of these heroes, you could say 70 points. For 70 points, they're great heroes. Both Fight 5, Strength 4, which is solid. Durin and Dwalin have defences of 8 and 7 respectively, which is not to be sniffed at. Durin gets +1 to wound against orcs, goblins and urukai. That for me is massive. That is really cool and is more devastating than you think. He also has access to heroic strike, and he's just a very killy little hero. 3 might's not too shabby. He only has 1 will and 1 fate, but when you tie in the fact that Dwalin also has the same 3/1/1, you're getting 6 might for your 140 points. Like I say, Dwalin is only defense 7, but he's going to be more of, even though he can hold his own, he's going to be sitting back and he's going to be taking shots. He has the expert shot special rule, which means he can shoot twice in the shoot phase, which is pretty cool. And he also has heroic accuracy in his arsenal of heroic traits, which means that he can re-roll in the ways and the like, which makes him pretty deadly. And an archer that can have that and have 2 shots and have might, he could easily kill an enemy general and upset the game straight from the get-go. So he's one you want to keep an eye out for. For me, this double profile is fantastic, well worth every penny, and I wish I could see it more on the boards. Number 4. Number 4 is, I've used this profile in the past and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And bearing in mind, when I did use this profile, it was the older version. So he was a bit more naff than he is now. He now has a profile which really suits the name of this character. The character is Gwaihir. 150 points for the Lord of the Eagles. He's a monster, obviously. Hero of Legend, so you're passing that first courage test when you are broken, if it ever comes to that, free of charge. Not that I think he'd worry with courage 6, fight 8, strength 6, defense 8. He is an absolute beast, as he should be. 2 attacks, 3 wounds. He can fly, he causes terror, and he has the monstrous charge special rule, which makes him devastating against anything that he crashes into. 3 might, will and fate, and access to all the monstrous brutal power attacks. Anything that's a monster that has might for me is devastating. The fact that this is one of the only monsters with these that can fly, with the arsenal that he has in his profile, makes him, for me, on the good side, one of the best profiles in the game. Tie him in a list with wizards and he becomes really, really deadly. It's a great profile and I can't wait to get my Forge World Gwaihir finished up and get him on the table once this lockdown craziness ends. I have a few lists that involve Gwaihir in my head and I'm looking forward to trying them out because he is going to be an absolute monster against anyone that I face. Number 5. Number 5, we hark back to one of the issues of the fanzine SBG. If you've not seen these, please do check them out. I'll put links below to where you can contact Damian and Tom and get your little mitts on these fanzines because they are fantastic. They had an article which was spread over 2 issues a while back and it was about the most undercosted models in the game, and this next profile featured very, very heavily. You do see this now and again, so it kind of just snuck in, but I don't think we see it as much as we should, and I don't think people realise actually how good this profile is. We're back with Durin's Folk. Obviously, I'm talking about the King's Champion. This profile, as I mentioned, you get 3 models for your book. 140 points, hero of fortitude, so you can bring a lot of dudes with him. Fight value of 6 and has the possibility to go up to defense 9. His base value is 7. Again, that is not too shabby. And with the special rules involved in the profile, he has the possibility to have 5 fate. 5 fate, think about that, 5 fate rolls. He's strength 5, he has dual axes, he has access to piercing strike, which makes him devastating if he wins a combat. And also he's always going to have with him his 2 banner bearers, which means that he's re-rolling dual rolls. So those 3 attacks basically become 4 on the dual roll. And he's got 2 might in his store just in case he ever does have an absolute nightmare when he's rolling those dice. Access to heroic strike and strength. Again, heroic strike is one of the heroics in the game that can really pip your hero to the next level if you ever have hero face-offs. But let me tell you, let me give you a piece of advice. If you are coming up against this guy on the table, you do not want your heroes in combat with him. He'll always have his heralds with him, which means he finds it very, very easy to trap opponents. If he traps you and he piercing strikes, heroic strikes, it's highly likely you're going out of the game because his heralds are going to hit you, he's going to hit you, it's double strikes, it's game over. The flip side to that, if he does lose the fight, he's got a very high defense, you're going to struggle to injure him. So for me, one of my favourites in this list is the King's Champion and his heralds. Guys, that is my 5 for this video. This video could have had 35, 45. I may do more videos in the future. Do let me know what you thought of my list below. Let me know if there was anyone that you'd put above them and the reasons why. I'd be really interested to hear, and they may feature in a video in the future. Don't forget, check out the links below for our Patreon, Facebook group, everything like that. Also for the contact details for Damian and Tom for SBG, the fanzine of all fanzines, please do go and check it out. And until the next video, guys, I will see you soon. Hopefully, keep washing your hands, stay safe, and see you soon.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you've enjoyed it. Here at Top Table Gaming, we love bringing you content that you are going to enjoy. So don't forget, check out everything else on the channel. Have a bit of a look around before you disappear and watch your next video. We've got everything from unboxings, product reviews, battle reports, and everything else in between. So do have a good look around. Now, I do want to, before we carry on, give a huge shout out to our patrons, which you should be able to see on screen. Without them, we couldn't do any of this. They help us fund the lights, the kits, the studio, and everything that is helping us create content and push forward for you as a channel. We don't hide the content behind a paywall, but we do have benefits such as free dice and free t-shirts for our patrons as a way of us giving back, as well as regular giveaways. So if that sounds good to you, do go and check out the Patreon page, link in the description below. And before you guys head out, make sure you head over to the Top Table Gaming community on Facebook. We've got over 1,500 members now, and it is such an excellent community that you should totally be a part of. Check out these videos on screen now, and until next time, enjoy your hobby.